good night. Okay, so this will be science night. Probably short because I'm in a lot of pain. I don't feel good at all. But we will have some advancement in humankind understanding of the cosmos. This will specifically, we will deal with the science of the natural world, or physics in its modern definition or modern term. Specifically, we will deal with the cause and effect, which, as we all know, it's one of the pillars of science is cause and effect. So this will be our main focus. Maybe with our humble capabilities, we will be able to teach, even in just small bits, we will teach the scientists of Earth about cause and effect. And this will also be in another exercise, or should I say, class in the value of words, and also in the lack of. So wow, I'm really in real pain. So let's make it simple. We will today we will create more beeswax and neon juice and all sort of other stuff. The difference is that I will do it more in a more like streamlined process. I will first melt the bee and melt the other material and mix them well, and and then I'll just while it's still liquid, I'll place everything in these cups. You see these metal cups, which is excellent for this purpose. And we will wait until they're hardened, and then I will light it. Or perhaps I will, at least one I will light while it's still very liquid. My estimation is it will burn much quicker when it's still liquid, because if it's already liquid, because we've seen, I've already behind me several experiments on beeswax mixed with neo juice, and what you can see every time is that right from the start, from when you light the candle, it seems a little bit peculiar, even though if you don't really search for it, it wouldn't look unnatural to you. But if you kind of open your eyes, you will see a peculiar behavior right from the start. For example, the light will be considerably more resistant to wind than natural candles of the same size and material. And if you not so if you just light it and never pay attention, you will not find you can't see really anything different. But if you actually feel the wind, and in case that there is a wind, you see that wind affects much less than you could expect. But the real effect, like the money time, takes much more time actually to start. It grows, the light. The fire gets stronger and stronger, and grows and grows. And it's not an entirely continuous function, mathematically speaking. We have there is a certain point where everything. When there is a jump in the the volume and then the heat of the flame. By the way, if some of you wondering, is this like cold flame, maybe just spectacular flame that you just creates light but no warm. So I will tell you that even if it was, then it's still the amount of light that you've seen just coming from the tuna can in the video that just posted, still it violates the law of conservation of energy. So it's still a miracle. But no, I can tell you firsthand that this thing is hot. It creates heat. A substantial amount of heat, enough to keep a grown man warm when he's very cold. So we'll do that. I wanted to speak a little bit about international relationship, but really, I mean, I've had enough of this. You all like to speak and talk, and you are expert on theater, but eventually, I mean, it was important for me to go through, I mean, these years of reenactment in order to understand history, because no one wants to tell me nothing about history, and it's the only way for me to actually understand. History is important. History is very important. You learn stuff from history, but so I thank God that gave me this opportunity. Even though, I mean, of course, I mean, some of it was very harsh, and I mean, I had very bad experiences with all reenactment. And on top of that, as I said, it's not like a person that his life is all sweet and honey, and sometimes he sees visions that cause him distress. He's a person that his normal life is life of distress, and on top of that, he gets more like visions of past distresses. So I mean, but I mean, again, I mean, this is all for good reason, because otherwise I had no. I mean, how can I know the truth? I mean, it's not only that it's secrets from everyone. Even if someone would have just, I mean, told me this thing, I wouldn't have believe him. Or after so many years of disinformation, I'm really skeptic about everything. So that's the only way to actually understand reality. So I mean, to understand history, and history is very important. But I mean, regarding international relationship, we should understand that at the current point, I mean, we have already been through all the major, I mean, steps with regards to international intervention or shaping the leader's mind in the international community. And I mean, the bottom line is that it's like that or this. You know what's this? This is the shield of Achilles, and it's all dirty and full of dust. It's where I found them in these metal cups where I'm going to light my fire. You know what's Achilles' shield? It's from the Iliad, the former. It's very important. I mean, it's very important when part where, I mean, Achilles, he lost his shield and sword since Patroclus, his nephew, took them to battle, wanted to impersonate him. But of course, I mean, as is expected, he died by the hands of Hector, who didn't know that it's not Achilles. And so he needed new weapons, so he asked his mother, which gave him not only just a weapon, I mean, a shield, but a shield that is made by Vulcan, or Hephaestus in his Greek name, which is for the god of metalwork. And so there's a large part in the Iliad where you see all, where the poet describes all the details on the shield. It's like you paused, you are just, I mean, before like a new, I mean, stage of the war, and everybody is very, like, you know, anxious, and Achilles is mad because he's died, Patroclus died. But then, okay, we stop. Now we are now like in a pause. We take a deep breath, and now the poets, I mean, describe, I mean, relatively in length, the intricate engraving, because Vulcan did not only made like weapons and armor that are incredibly strong and durable. He was also, and even more importantly, in the hands of the Greeks and Romans, he was also an artist. So I mean, the things that he made was actually like they were work of. I mean, besides the fact that they were, I mean, like weapons of the gods in the functional use, they were also, and even more importantly, they were works of art. So there's also that. So the shield like contained like an amazing engraving with incredible lot of like an impossible. I mean, it's kind of like impossible. It's probably impossible to actually paint it like engraved like practical war shield with, I mean, so many details. But of course, it's made by the gods, so I mean, it's possible, and it's like a. It's a microcosmos. It's in a very like on one piece of man-made objects, the shield. You see, I mean, you get a sense of the entire cosmos of at least of the Greeks of the time. So why am I like why do I mention the shield? Because this balcony where I now want, I mean, this disgusting, filthy, and I mean, full of frames, I mean, and you know it in more than one way, and poisons and electricity, and I've also added my share of extraterrestrial alien worms and radioactive shekels and what's not. The balcony is a microcosmos of, I mean, it's microcosmos. It's like a model of the world, because not in only in a symbolic way, in a practical way, because it's clear to me that it's not only that Israel is full of spies and foreign cells. It's Rishon is full of spies and for itself, and this place, the building itself is full of them. Of course they are, it is. Because many people in the world are interested to see, what's going on with me. And whatever their interests are, and their interests are not exactly the same. And I understood it a long, long time ago. Actually, it's one of the things that I wrote about, in one of my first posts about again, my heritage. It was clear to me during my awakening when I worked in my heritage on the first half of 2019. So I understood that intelligence people, not intelligent people, people of intelligence agencies are watching, and they have different interests. And that's why it's very easy to understand that they have different interests, but it's very hard to actually know what their interests are. So until now, I cannot tell you what is the interest of each one, but it was very easy to see that people serve different interests. And it's still true. Probably it was always true. But okay, so okay, so maybe one apartment belong to the Russians, and the other to the Americans, and the other to the UK, and what's not. But eventually, the fact is, right now where I live, in this apartment, it's not the first one, but let's speak about right now. For months now, I'm being electrocuted, and I'm subject to torture, and I'm subject to sound attacks, and all the worst things that people of the intelligence community do. So, whatever the interests of everybody was, or are, or were, at the bottom line, I'm being tortured endlessly from day to night in the places I cannot live by court of order or like order of the court. So, yeah, that's the bottom line. The foreigner is tortured day and night in unimaginable tortures with no one to help him. So, yep, really, I spent too much time dealing with flags. And the ones that actually followed me during last year know what I speak about. But the whole saga of the flags, maybe it was important to actually pass through it, to know that we are after it. But it's not that important, because all of you together, you are collaborating. First in a more, let's say, abstract way, like you work together even if some of the interests are not the same, but in a much more practical and important way. The foreigner is tortured day and night and cannot sleep and cannot eat and cannot do anything without torture. So yeah, maybe you have different interests, but the reality is the reality of torture. And I've had enough torture, and if what's needed in order to stop the torture is to burn many countries around the world, and it's clear that it's the only thing that might change this situation, because you can't do anything to Israel that will change directions. There is nothing in the world that you can do to Israel or Israelis to change their behavior. They are 100% immune to change, and that's its effect. The only possible way, even it's far from certain, but theoretical way to change the behavior of the Israelis is if foreign powers will make them change. And this, of course, will happen with zero movement of tongues and lips and mouths. It will happen only by the movement of arms and legs. But no one is moving their legs and arms. They are only moving their mouths and tongues. So we will start our physics class, and I'll try to make it short because I'm really tired and my legs hurt. But tomorrow, if any of you will be still, subscribe to the channel, so the remaining subscriber will, I'll promise them a more elaborate discussion and more, maybe even some theoretical background on the natural concept of cause and effect.